Hey, you tourists, it's your boy Domination. This is back in the basic. Chugga to this is our text baby man of the respect. You know this it is. Real men rise up, fake men rust down. Rural rust up, figure rust down. Breath to breath, preacher, preach on. And today I want to talk about is I want to talk about this generation gap that we need to talk about this generation gap, and we need to do something about that and trying to bring in between bringing the young and the old and have a conversation, understanding from each other. Because I saw a video and there's a rapper name is the guy who did a song with Nipsey. Y'all know what I'm talking about. It was called Rags on the Middle. Y'all know what I'm talking about. He won a Grammy, and he had when he won a Grammy, people don't give him the knowledge, the recognition that he felt that he deserved. And he going at these old heads, these old rappers. Let me say this. I understand where these young artists are coming from because they come from a time where when music was taking off between the 80s and the 90s. When the 70s, when hip hop start to begin in New York and spread all different parts, even here and down south, they feel this is their time to make it. And I applaud to them. I get it. But at the same time, they got a long way to go because they got to understand, a lot of music entertainment, the music industry, 95 and 90% of these entertainers, these young artists, don't control their music. And this is a straight facts. Because let's be for real, how many entertainers that don't even control their music? There are some that do control it. Jermaine Dupri, for example. Jermaine Dupri was 18 years old when he had his own album, no, his own label called So Def Records. He was 18 years old. Believe it? He was that young. So it took a lot of him going to college and trying to achieve a greatness of things that he was doing. And his first artist he ever signed, it was Chris Cross and then the Brat and all the other artists that came along. So you got to give Jermaine Dupri a lot of credit. He did what he had to do for him to get him the way from trying to get opportunities for himself, and it's not easy. If he can do it, the young people can do it too, to run their own label in their own age. But you got to control your own music. You got to because it's unless you have to be schooled into school to the game. So I understand, but winning awards is not everything. It's not, and they know it because there are a lot of great entertainers ain't never won an award. I give you an example. Rockers, they don't care about winning awards very much. As long as they play a good kick-ass music and kick-ass shows, they all right. They don't care. As long as the music is great music is important to them. And I don't know why these artists complain because they didn't get the recognition that they feel. Your time will come. They'll come around. And I understand. I understand that. But this is why I don't like these up and coming new artists, and they have this attitude and they feel that they should be entitlement for everything that's it's going to give to them. But you got to look at it like this: if it wasn't for these old generation artists, you wouldn't be there because they started the same age when you did it. It was not easy things not applied to give to them. So take your time and don't just chill out. You're just getting started. You got a lot of ways to go. And the problem with the young artists today, they need guidance and they need direction. They trying to find where they can find and where they're trying to go. So give them guidance, give them direction. The more you give them guidance, it can guide for the path they're trying to follow and give them direction for each direction they're trying to go. So give them that. The problem with that between not just the young but the old generation, they feel that they did their best, they did their time. Some of them are bitter because they wish they could have learned a lot more from the business that they should have, but they didn't. So it was a lot different. They didn't want to deal with bad contracts and bad business deal. Name it. The music industry back then, it didn't make a lot of money. It didn't make a lot of money back then like it is now. So it's easy for the young people in between the age of 13 and 18 or something to 17 to 15 can get into music now, or 19 and 16. They can get in the music that they at now, or age 11 and 12 and 13. They can get in there, age of 5 or 7 years old. They can get in there and put out a music on SoundCloud or Spotify and all that stuff. When I was coming up, it wasn't YouTube when I was around. It was until I got out of high school. Until it was in there in high school when YouTube first got started. Because YouTube first started was February the 14th, 2005. That was 22, 23 years ago when YouTube was trying to get out there, or 18 years ago, actually exact. So that's when YouTube was trying to take off. And then it was when I was coming up, it had MySpace page and Facebook's trying to come along, and so many more social media to get music on for these young folk. But elderly people, they didn't have that. The only way they had to get the music out there until they passed demos. That was the only way, or go to the record companies and go to the radio places to get their music out there, or play the music in the clubs. That was the only way for the old generation, when they were same age when they was started doing it when they were young. It was not easy back then. Artists did not make a lot of money back then. It was very tough. Now it's a lot easy. But then, back then in the 90s, in the 80s, it was tough. It was hard. It was hard to get out there. So these young people, they lucky. They got everything that gives to them, but they have to give things back. So all these old heads, man, they need to chill out with that. Let them have their time. You have your time, but you should have learned the business and learn the ways and method how to use mainstream. I wish if they would have mainstream at that time, they would have learned something. They would have the achievement, the Grammys they got. So I understand why this generation gap between young and old. The problem with old, that they need to become wise and become civilized. Once they become wise and when they're age, when they got older, and they got to become civilized to trying to have a conversation before they get in these music when they're younger. So it needs to be a closing gap to understand the young and the old, and not shutting each other out. So I don't give two damns about no damn Grammy. I'm gonna tell you that right now. I didn't care if I win a YouTube award. I really don't. I've been in YouTube for 20 years, and it might be 21 next year. So I want to thank my subscribers, because without y'all, I wouldn't be here. So at least I rewarded from my heart. But if I do get a YouTube award, I accomplished that. So please, people, let's just have an understanding. Let's come together and let's not shut each other out for many years and many more to understanding. So let's come together and let's heal these issues, and let's be better as a people, and better as a whole, and better to the world as human beings, and inspire more others and more things to come. Be safe, and peace and one love for y'all. All right? All right. It's your boy Dominic. All right. Peace. I'm out. All right. Peace.